Hi folks, it's Mr. Congable here again today, and I want to talk to you about OXY welding and how to set it up and get going and how to do it efficiently and effectively. Now, OXY welding is one of the oldest forms of welding. It was here way longer than any MIG or arc or TIG. And so it's a process that's not used a whole lot in the industry anymore, but it still has its applications. So we want to get the hang of it and learn how to use it in case we ever need it. So the first thing we need to have is a OXY welding station. So we have our oxygen and our acetylene. And remember, these bottles don't necessarily, the color doesn't have to be any certain color. The hoses do. The green hose is always oxygen and the red hose is always acetylene. But the tanks don't always have a set color. So when we use this, we're going to want to open up the tanks a certain way and to light the torch a certain way to get a certain flame. And that flame we're going for is a neutral flame. So we'll go ahead and get started and try to get that going. So when we have our OXY station here, the first thing we're going to make sure we have is we need our OXY goggles. And remember, they're a shade number 5. We need a shade number 5 for OXY welding. We don't use the number 10 shade that we use for arc welding, but we have to use some shade, and this is a number 5. So we have those. We're going to make sure we have our torch with a number 1 tip. We're going to make sure we have our striker so we can light our torch. We're not going to use just a regular Bic lighter. We're going to use a spark lighter. And then we can go ahead and get started. And as we look at our dials, this is our acetylene. We're going to use this little wrench to open up our acetylene bottle, and we're going to open it up a half turn. We're not going to open it up all the way because we want to be able to close it quickly if we need to. So we've opened up our acetylene, and you can see we have quite a bit of pressure in there. We're sitting over 250 psi in the tank, so that's good. Now we need to adjust our line pressure, and we want it around 5 psi. And remember, these red lines, if we get above 15, it could explode. So we want to be very careful, and we have 5 psi. That's what we want. We only adjust this set screw in until we have 5 psi. So now we'll move the oxygen, and we'll open the oxygen all the way. You saw the needle jump up when I first opened it. We're going to open it all the way so we don't have any leaking out. And then we're going to adjust that. We're going to adjust that up to about 15 psi as well. So now I have everything open and ready to go. Now I'm ready to light my torch and get my neutral flame. I have to remember I need all of my personal protective equipment on. I need my jacket, I need my gloves, I need my cap, and I'm going to need my OXY goggles. So now I'm ready to go. I'm going to open up my acetylene, my red. I'm going to just crack it open. Then I'm going to light it with the spark lighter. So now I have a flame. I'm going to add enough acetylene until I have a feather out here and that black smoke has gone away. So now I want to put on my OXY goggles. Then I'm going to add some oxygen, and that's going to bring that flame. As you can see, as we add oxygen, we have a long blue flame. We don't want that. We want to bring it in until we have a little blue cone here. That's our neutral flame. That's what we're going for here. So now with my neutral flame, I'm ready to start welding. So I'm going to bring my metal and my switch together. And I'm going to make little circles so the tip of that blue flame is touching my metal. And you get where you have a molten part here. And you're just going to move in circles forward. We're going to move and push that puddle forward. I know it's hard to see on camera. We're moving in little circles. We have a puddle of molten metal, and we're just pushing that forward using our little circular pattern. And you're going to want to use both hands when you do this, and you have a little bit more steady torque when you use both hands than if you're just using one hand. We have a nice puddle. We're coming to the end of our metal. We're going to bring it up. And now we're going to close this off. So the first thing I'm going to do is shut off my oxygen. I have that acetylene flame again, and I'm going to shut it off. And just twist my valves so it's all shut off. And then when it's hot like this, I don't want to put it back in the plastic carrier. So I'm just going to leave it over here and set, but I don't want to set it on my hot metal. You can see how this metal, we have some color distortion here. That's showing it's so very hot right there. But that's what we're going for. We want it to look like that right there. So when we finished welding, we've got our Oxy welds all done. We're going to close the stations. So the first thing we're going to do is take our oxygen bottle and close the top of the cylinder. We're going to close it all the way. So it's good and tight. Then we're going to take our wrench. We're going to close our acetylene bottle. And we only had it open about half of a turn, so we don't have to go near as far to close this. We want to make sure it's tight. So then, after we have both of the bottles closed, we're going to take our torch, we're going to let out any gas that's still in the line. You probably heard it rush out of here. So now our gauges drop down to 0, and now we can take our set screws, our T-handles, and we can back them out so that there's no pressure on that line for when we open it again next time. And we want to make it to where they're pretty loose, but we don't want to take them all the way out. Alright folks, so now you're ready to go and make some puddles with your Oxy welding equipment. Just like regular arc welding and MIG welding, this takes practice. You won't be excellent at it the first time you try it. So what we need to do is get used to opening up our station. We need to get used to making our puddle and then pushing that puddle forward very consistently. So remember, be safe, wear your personal protective equipment, everything you need to have on, and just have a lot of fun welding.